Thanks for joining us on 7 for 12 after another great day at Lord's, day two of the test match between England and India. This is the place to be at the end of every day's play to review the test series between England and India. And I use the word great because that's the topic for me today. The greatness of Jimmy Anderson, the way he performed today, and the greatness of a great friend of mine, Andrew Strauss. You know, that Lord's was in great colour, a red colour for a great lady and a great cause. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Well, you can file that under a hard-fought day's test at cricket. Just over 200 runs scored, 10 wickets falling. India not reaching the heights that we saw on day one. England doing really well to restrict them to 364 all out. A seventh fifer at Lord's for Jimmy Anderson, his fourth against India. Brilliant from him. But then England rocked, losing 2 wickets in 2 balls, including the unfortunate Hamid, first ball in his first test match in 5 years for England, before Root, that man again, steadied the ship alongside Rory Burns. Burns out shortly before stumps, and Johnny Bairstow close to following him. But Bairstow's still there, and so is Root. But still plenty of work for England to do tomorrow if they are to draw level with India.
Well, John, you're at the ground, all empty now, but it was a sea of red. What a colour it has been at Lord's today. A fantastic ovation for Sir Andrew Strauss this morning. At 7 o'clock tonight, there was 530,000 raised for an amazing charity, for an amazing lady and a special family and a very good friend of mine in Straussy. And watching Sir Andrew, Luca and Sam walk around the ground, I must admit there was not a dry eye in the Harmson household. Gone through a hell of a lot of tissues, and I ain't gonna apologise one bit about a grown man crying, because we've seen a good test match, but between 10:55 and 11 o'clock this morning, there was a lot of lumps in throats.
Yeah, look, I'm talking about a very close friend of yours, a very close family friend, and a family that is very close to you. So I can't really add too much. I'll just say this. Lord's today was, as you say, a sea of red. So Andrew Strauss, of course, played his county cricket here at Lord's, a proud Middlesex man, a proud England captain. A man who won an Ashes in Australia, and not too many of those. In fact, the last 2 both came from Middlesex, didn't they? Mike Gatting as well. But his children were here today. They're family friends of yours. And really, cricket came together today. So well done to him. I can't imagine what they went through as a family just 2 years ago. But to come back and to turn a terrible thing into something positive, well, that's why he's a sir, really. But yeah, just thoughts with him. It's almost impossible to segue from that to a game of cricket. But that's why Andrew Strauss is here. That's why we know Andrew Strauss is, because of cricket. And he himself was part of the Sky commentary team today. Cricket runs through his blood, doesn't it? So, well, let's talk cricket, and let's talk about a man that he played alongside, and so did you, Jimmy Anderson. Once again, up on the honours board for the 7th time, 5 for 62. I mean, he might not have even played this test match, and if he hadn't, then India, who are still ahead, well, there'd only be one winner at this stage. They'd probably still be batting.
Yeah, I think they would still be batting, to be honest, John. And you know what more can you say about James Anderson? He has been phenomenal for the England cricket team. Talk about being on the honours board in the England dressing room. Well, I think he's got his own now. They must be going to put a little honours board above the seat of James Anderson, where he's been sitting for the last 18 years, because to get on that board once is very difficult to do. Some of the greats of the game have not been able to get on either home or away boards, but to get on 7 times, it just shows you what a true champion he is. And his ability, we've talked about, for me, and this is why he is so great, because when there's nothing happening and you throw the ball to Jimmy Anderson, he's not as express pace as what he was when he first got on the honours board, but his skill level just gets better and better. And age is a number for Jim, and his ability to move, to get the ball moving just by using the crease and using his wrist position is a lesson that you could try and teach young bowlers, but I'm not sure you could ever be able to get them anywhere close to what James Anderson is. England needed him to stand up yet again, and boy did he do so. And we were talking about a guy who's 39-year-old. There was an injury doubt before the test match started, back-to-back test matches, and he bowls nearly 30 overs and gets 5 for 62 against a batting lineup like India. As a true testament to what a great bowler Jimmy Anderson is. And it was the manner that he did it for me, because every time England were flat, Joe Root threw the ball to his lead man, and from one end, England looked effective, and I thought England bowled really well and got their just rewards this morning.
Did India help them out, though, with their team selection and their tactics? As we know, Rahul and Rahane went early. There was a decent partnership between Jadeja and Pant, but India's last 5 wickets added just 33 runs, and they took an absolute age to get there. It almost played into England's hands. Do you think that Jadeja employed the right tactics by protecting, essentially, a tail that starts with Shami? Or should he have gone for his shots, let the tail-enders go for their shots, and then adopted that technique or that tactic once Siraj came to the crease?
Well, it's difficult unless you're in that situation, and also you've got the bowlers that you've got to contend with, and Anderson gives you nothing to hit with spread fields, especially for Jadeja. So you talk about the team selection for India. Yes, I still think that Ashwin would play. It's pretty brave of India and Virat Kohli to go with, right, I need 4 fast bowlers. I'm not bothered what their batting prowess is. We need 4 fast bowlers. Batters, your job's to score runs. Bowlers, your job's to take wickets. So I quite like that from the Indian captain, but he's got a 3-4-5 who are averaging 27 in the last 18 months. That is asking big questions, and that's why England are playing with more all-rounders in the sort of 7, 8, 9 role, and they're not playing probably their best 4-seamers. So, who is looking at it the best way? I think Virat wants some firepower with the ball. So I don't know who's got it right and who's got it wrong. I think the scoreline in time will tell on that. But Jadeja, I've been working with Vivek Laxman, the great Indian batsman, and he was quite critical of Jadeja not trusting the guy at the other end. There was a couple of times when Ishant Sharma was looking for a single and Jadeja turned him down. And I think at one point they were literally side by side in the middle and not knowing which way to go. That is confusion for the batting. That helps the bowling unit. And let's remember, Sharma batted number 9. He wasn't number 11. He was number 9. And I think when you do that, you do give the incentive to the bowling side. So I thought Pant played well, but I'm still sticking to the rule that I think he's a number 7 and not a number 6. If he's a number 6, you've got to get hundreds. You turn 37 into 100. Top order number 6s, international number 6s at the top level of the teams that you, especially at the highest. The top teams, India, Australia, New Zealand, England, you're expected to get hundreds if you're batting in the top 6. So I think that is something I still think they should be looking at. And I don't think Jadeja did his team any favours, because once he set his stall out at protecting number 8, then he was only ever going to deal in singles, maybe his 1s and maybe his 2s, because Joe Root could then put everybody on the boundary and say, right, it might take us a bit of time, but Jadeja, you're the only one that can harm us. You're not going nowhere. And I think that went against India.
Do you expect Rahane and Pujara to still be in this India side come the 5th Test match? Because they both look really, really badly out of form. And that in itself is also putting pressure on a batting lineup that seems quite reliant on their openers.
Yeah, and I think when spot on, I'm hugely reliant on the openers. Kohli hasn't scored 100 for a while, so he's due. Great players, you don't keep great players down. So, Virat Kohli is due. At some point during the series, he will have 1 or 2 chances to get a 3-figure score. Rahane looks out of nick. Pujara looks. They both look as though they've got the same problem. They both look as though they're a little bit fidgety at the crease. The feet movement is not the greatest, and they're playing against a bowler who is brilliant at exploiting anybody who has got any sort of weakness outside off stump, and that is Jimmy Anderson. And both times, both occasions in Pujara and Rahane, Jimmy Anderson's put the ball just on and around off stump. It looks as though they're playing away from the body, and they are, but I still believe that Jimmy Anderson, because of the angle that he creates with not only with the way the ball comes down towards the batsman and it just holds a little bit, they still feel as though they have to play them. I think that's just relentless from Anderson. Whether they're going to be in the side come the end of the series, they need runs. If they don't get runs, they'll be out of the side. And at the age and the experience that they've had so far in their careers, if they do go out the side with Suryakumar Yadav, Ishan Krishna, and one or two others, they might not get their test match places back. So I think there's definitely two top order Indian batsmen playing for their careers over the course of second innings and the next three test matches.
And what is it about Virat Kohli and Mohammad Siraj and reviews? 3 at Trent Bridge, 2 today at Lord's. I mean, it's actually a comedy masterclass. The crowd were getting involved. They knew Virat Kohli was going to review it. It was all as the countdown was coming down, the crescendo of noise raised, and you just knew what was going to happen. It's comedy gold.
It is comedy gold. It's like someone got Punch and Judy watching them get to the review point. The minute that Virat Kohli goes like that, the Benny Hill music should start. It should definitely start and get fired up because, oh man, I couldn't stop laughing. Rishi Pant. I think the idea is it's like Punch and Judy, and the police officer comes over with a baton, and that black police officer was Rishabh Pant trying to stop Virat Kohli from making the signal, especially on the second one. I think Mohammad Siraj has gone to the Stuart Broad school of the review and getting into the captain to make sure that he thinks it's out. And it's not looking great, but it's comedy, it's funny, and it's great fun. And I think Mohammad Siraj has been brilliant so far in this Test series. I think
absolutely
he's given the selectors a headache of India, because at some point in this series, Ashwin's got to come back in, and I think Ishant Sharma looked a bit short of a gallop, and I think that's why Virat Kohli bowled him more and more. Shami he's a proper bowler, and you can't drop Jasprit Bumrah. So at this moment in time, for me, Ishant Sharma will be the one that gets left out, because Mohammad Siraj has bowled beautifully, and he's got to keep that up. And I've said this many times. I'd give him 2 bits of advice. One, never change. Keep going the way you're going, the enthusiasm. Go at the batsman, get going, get in the face, and give what you're doing, because look, I think you're a very, very fine bowler, my friend, and you've got something. In the second one will be learn how to play the short ball, because you're upsetting that many people in the opposition side. The guys that'll be going to their fast bowlers like Mark Wood and one or two others, especially around the world, you're going to cop some bounces for the way you behave with the ball, but never, ever change. Keep it going, because it's box office.
Talking about players under pressure in terms of Rahane and Pant, Dominic Sibley is, he's we know that Chris Silverwood was toying with the idea of bringing in Hamid. We'll talk about Hamid as moment of the day, but that shot from Sibley, he can't play in the offside, and they just stack the leg side, and it's looking very, very tough for him. Could he only have 1 innings left, do you think, to keep his Test career going?
Quite possibly. I would just wonder if Joe Root and Chris Silverwood might be thinking, have we left the wrong man out? I do believe Zach Crawley needed a little bit of break and a time away from the cauldron and the heat of the battle, because I think things were getting to him. But I just wonder if they've left the wrong man out and didn't promote Zach Crawley. Dom Sibley's dismissal, you can't defend it. I can't find a way of how you can get into that position to get the ball in the air as a top order batsman, and even more so at Test match level. Mohammad Shami batted number 8, and he's a number 11, and his shot was a little bit more controlled to how he got out compared to what Dominic Sibley did. His head was all the way over on the offside. His feet didn't really go anywhere, pointing in the wrong direction, and his hands were basically down leg side when he actually made contact with the ball. He just looks horribly out of sorts. Defensively, he looks sound, but he's going nowhere. And to get 11 off 40 odd balls in the first Test match, 18 and a whole session of 133 balls. You're digging yourself in a hole. And unless you go on and do what Keil Rowell did and go from a 20 strike rate to 50 by the end and get 100 or close to 100, then you're asking questions and you're digging yourself a hole. And let's remember, England are 119 for 3 or 45 overs, because that opening partnership, didn't go nowhere, nullified the new ball, which we are asking them to do. But England was still 23 for 2, and it was quite painful to watch. So I think Dominic Sibley is in the second innings playing for his place, and I really do hope that he can get some runs, because it is so tough playing Test match cricket, especially with the bowlers on show. He's finding it very, very difficult out there. Flipped it over. Rory Burns got through that initial period, got himself away, and then was done by a good bit of bowling by Mohammad Shami, because I thought he stuck to his task well. And I think Shami got his just reward from a good spell of bowling today.
Yeah, Mohammad Siraj, by the way, 10 reviews in his short career, 1 successful, 6 unsuccessful, and 3 umpires' calls. But let's move on. And thanks for joining us on the YouTube live stream of 7 for 12. We're going to be answering your questions very, very shortly. But after you subscribe and like and review, let's get a couple of moments of the day. Okay, well, we mentioned one of those moments of the day already, Jimmy Anderson getting on the honours ball for the 7th time. But there was also a really bleak moment of the day. Haseeb Hameed, who hasn't played Test cricket for 5 years, 2016 he made his debut for England against Bangladesh. He then played in India, got off to a terrific start in his Test career, then returned to county cricket after getting a bad break whilst playing for England. Released by his county. He had a terrible, terrible couple of seasons. Renaissance under Peter Moores at Nottinghamshire, and then today he just missed a straight delivery. Didn't do anything, did it? Mohammad Siraj 2 and 2 on a hat trick, and Hameed had to make that long walk back to the pavilion. It was exquisitely painful. It
was very painful. It was painful to watch. I felt sorry for the boy. He's worked so hard to get him back. To be fair, he's worked so hard to get himself back into contract, to get into knots. And then again, he's took his game on a bit further. And then he gets a Test match call up, and you've waited 5 years to get back to where you feel as though you belong. Because let's be fair, when he did play for England the first time, he looked the real deal. He looked $1 million out in India. And he gets a ball, it was just a straight ball. And he's fielded 127 overs, but the home of cricket, the emotion that's gone with it, and maybe it's just them lead boots he had on, just didn't quite get to the ball. His head wasn't falling over. I don't think it was going straight down the pitch. His foot was on its way towards it. It just seemed to stop and get stuck. And then when his bat come through, it was on the wrong line, and he completely missed it. And he was bowled neck and crop. And it was a good ball by Siraj, but there's a 1 at Test level you should be keeping out. But you give him a little bit of leeway because of how hard he's worked to get back into the Test match team. But England didn't need that at the time, because again, we tried to make a change to be proactive and get somebody in the side to get you off to a start. And Joe Root walks out again in the first innings of a Test match, 2 wickets down for less than 30 on the board, and pressure's on the England captain straight away.
Yeah, absolutely. Hameed in first class in 2021, 17 innings, and he's averaging 51. So he's doing pretty well. So hopefully
give him a go.
He can come back. Okay, let's get to the comments section. Okay, Harmy, we're going to rattle through these. We've had some questions on the YouTube site, and hopefully a couple will come through on YouTube as well. Binod says, how do you see the pitch behaving over the course of the next few days?
I think the pitch is fine. I think it will stay solid. I think typical Lords, it will get better and better. Might spin on day 4 and day 5, but I think a good day's batting tomorrow on an easy pace pitch will definitely be high on England's thought processes. I don't see any demons in it at all. I think it's a nice, easily paced pitch. If anything, it's on the slow side, but it'll be a case of if anything does happen tomorrow, it'll be if the clouds come over and you look up, as opposed to a decent surface looking down.
Vasanth says, did England miss a trick in not giving the new ball to Mark Wood?
Possibly, yeah. Good point. Good point. Very well made. I think Mark Wood would have been good against Hero and Rohit Sharma, two batsmen that don't move their feet as well early doors. They like to play shots, so they like to play out in front of them. And I think that the express pace that Mark Wood's shown in this game, and I think he's bowled really well. It's a different dynamic when you've got a fast bowler in your side. It helps Anderson, it helps Robinson, and Curran will get better, no doubt whatsoever. But when you've got somebody like Mark Wood or Jofra Archer or Ollie Stone, you've just got a different dynamic. I possibly would give him the new ball in the second innings from the pavilion end and give him a right good go and see if he can get the ball through the defence of the two opening batsmen. Because if he does, we've just talked about the frailties of the Indian batting unit. It might be that might be the chance of winning a test match.
Okay, let's take a question from YouTube. We do have people watching this live. We're going to be doing 7 for 12 throughout the series live. And CVG says, is this batting squad of England better than the squad of 2019?
No, I don't think it is. I'm trying to rack my brains to get.
So we had Jason Roy was opening then. Joe Denley was in and around the squad. Milan, Vince had just been dropped.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is because there was one man in 2019 that we haven't got now, and who would have been here now, and that's Ben Stokes. You got Ben Stokes and Joe Root in the same side, then I think it's a better batting unit. When you haven't got one of them in it. So, no, as much as that didn't really fire, and it hasn't fired for a long, long time. And I mentioned, the great Andrew Strauss and Alistair Cook, Sir Alistair Cook as well. We talked about opening partnerships till for years now.
Wow, it's been 10 years since Strauss was playing, pretty much.
And we haven't nailed that position. So if you're always, if you're that's why. Joe Root is put even further on a pedestal, more than I don't think you can put him on any more than what I do put him. He went past Graham Gooch today, and he's only behind Sir Alistair Cook in the all-time great, all-time leading run scorers, and he is constantly walking out at 20 for 2. He's in the middle, 20 for 2, 30 for 2. Nearly every single test match. And that for me is why, I rate Joe Root so highly. So is it better? No, I don't think it is better because Ben Stokes is not there.
Okay, let's get to the prediction and see if you can do even better than you did after day one. Okay, Harmy, yesterday in your prediction, you said that Anderson and Robinson would get Rahane and Rahul early, and India would be bowled out for around 350. Well, they made 364, but apart from that, you got it spot on. So what is going to happen on day 3?
Well, I'm going to be bolder in my prediction this time. I think England will get a big score tomorrow. I really do. And I've talked about the frailties of England's batting unit, but the one man who I stick on a pedestal, if he can get through the first half an hour tomorrow and go on to get 100, which he looks as though he's in ominous form if you're an Indian supporter, then what England have got, they've got a bit of depth in their batting. And I think England could go on and go past India. When I look at England 6, 7, 8, 9, if Joe Root gets 100, that's one end secure and sorted. Now, as the bowlers get tired, and I've mentioned there's 45 overs bowled. Yes, they've got sick and new ball, but the bowlers will get tired. We've played back-to-back test matches. And if Butler can get in with him and a cameo from Sam Curran and a little bit from Moeen Ali and a cameo Moeen Ali and Ollie Robinson, then I think England have got some power down there that can exploit some tired bowlers. So for me, England captain to get 100. In England, dare I say it, England to get 400 in the first innings. To do that, it gives them a good chance to win a test match.
Well, you heard it here first, folks, and you probably won't hear that anywhere else either. Thanks so much for joining us on the 7 for 12 YouTube show live from Lords and Ashington, where Harmy's house, essentially. But we will be back following day 3. So please like, subscribe, review. Keep your questions coming in. We will answer them live on the show. Well, I won't. Harmy will. But for now, thanks for watching 7 for 12.